your growth and development. What are those things? What is it that you need to do to begin to upgrade your skills or your knowledge? As you begin to look at yourself and ask some of these questions, what is something that you're good at? Let's think about these things. What would you do if you had 1 year to live and guaranteed success in anything you decided to do?
Don't waste another minute trying to convince someone to like you, to come see you. If you have to talk them into it, they are not for you. They are a distraction. It's not your job to straighten them out. Let God fight your battles. Don't fight battles that are not between you and your destiny. You're not supposed to engage in every conflict. You have to keep your face set. Most of the things that come against us are simply distractions.
Now, you can keep on the same path for the next couple of years as you have the past two. But if you need to make some changes, I'm telling you can start doing it today so that the next 2 years will be drastically different than the last two. And anybody who wishes to do that can. And you can do it between ages 40 and 43. You can do it between ages 60 and 62. Any 2 years, any 5 years that you wish to drastically change from the previous 5, you can do it.
You're not the nut you used to be, but you're not the tree you're gonna be. But until you learn how to appreciate where you are in the process, you won't get the power to evolve to your ultimate destiny. It's not what's happening to you that's hurting you. It is the threat of what could happen to you that is stealing every good day you got. You can't enjoy the good days because the enemy is threatening you, so you don't get any peace when things are well, and you don't get any peace when things are bad. Because when things are good, you're worried about them going bad. And when they're bad, you're dealing with what bad happened, and you haven't had any rest. You've had sleep, but you haven't had rest. You're tired when you get up. You're tired when you go down. You are up under attack.
Because whatever you identify as the source of your stress determines what you consider the source of your peace. And that's why I don't like to blame people for my stress. Because if people brought me the stress, then I need people to change for me to have peace. But I'm past the point in my life of wanting for people to have to act a certain way, for me to have peace in my own heart.
Every morning when we wake up, we need to empty out anything negative from the day before. Somebody offended you at work. It's easy to let that offense stay. Feels good to carry around a grudge. But you have to be disciplined. Say, no, I am not giving this offense any room. They hurt you once. Don't let them continue to hurt you by holding on to the offense. Being offended is not harming them, it's harming you. It's taking up space you need for the good things that move you toward your destiny.
It's just not happening as fast as I thought it would. I thought by now I would have had the promotion. I thought by now that I would have had a breakthrough. I thought by now I would have paid off my bills. Oh, but friends, I wish today that we had a pantry door measuring stick for your faith. If you could look back throughout the years, what you would discover is that mark by mark, you have been maturing. You have been growing. It's just been little by little. I know you're not where you want to be yet, but baby, you have come a long way. You're growing gradually.
We need to grow emotionally. You can't keep crying about the thing you cried about last year. You can't keep complaining about the thing you complained about last year. You have to learn. You're growing. You can't keep being overwhelmed by what you were overwhelmed with last year.
What is no longer needed? What emotion, what anxiety, what thought, what belief, what person is no longer needed in my life? I never tell the old story. I don't like telling the old story. I'm constantly trying to write the new script, become the new character in my life. It could be the new beliefs I have. It could be the new story, but I'm constantly retelling a new story all the time. I'm constantly obsessed with writing the next chapter of my life, not reading the previous ones.
It's one thing to cry about that last year, but you've grown. You learned that lesson. Don't go backwards, move forwards.
You're in love with tomorrow, but you're neglecting today. And when God sees you neglecting today, he will not give you tomorrow until you are faithful over the few you cannot be ruler over the many.
There are going to be times when your circumstances are inconsistent with your dreams. And in those moments, you have two choices. Number one, you can reduce your life to your present circumstances, give up on it. Or you can believe your life will catch up with your dream if you won't quit and won't give up. Never allow circumstances to change the dream God has put in your heart. Never.
If it works, it's obsolete. Because whatever it is, it will be obsolete before long. Now, this is something I think each of us should check ourselves against regularly, weekly, if not daily. We should ask ourselves, what am I still doing the old way? Have I dug myself a rut or two that I'd be better off to climb out of?
The next time something comes against you, ask yourself, is this a battle worth fighting, or is it simply a distraction? That coworker that leaves you out, doesn't give you credit, do you think they can stop your destiny? That somehow they're more powerful than what God has ordained for you?
It is a spiritual attack that comes against you in spiritual ways. And because you are up under attack in your spirit, in your mind, in your emotions, you are lonely. No matter who you're around, no matter how many people know you, you end up alone because you are up under a private battle that you can't talk about.
Just take maybe 2 or 3 minutes and ask yourself, what do I need to do today to challenge me, to reach my potential, fulfill my strengths and the purpose that I have in my life? If you challenge yourself and follow through on it, it'll be the greatest challenge and give you the highest return of any challenge that you'll ever receive.
You must prepare for success, even if there is no indication of it. You must prepare for success, even if you have become accustomed.
Do the worst case scenario, you write those things down, the worst things that you fear would happen. When you name your fears, that puts you in control. What are you afraid of?
I think there's a different level for you. I think there's a different level for you to get obsessed, crazy, laser focused. I say all the time, our obsessions become our possessions. When you're laser obsessed focused, your obsession distracts you from what you're currently doing, not the other way around. You're not really obsessed with it if you're easily distracted from it. And so the only way we get to that ultimate version of ourselves is by replacing ourselves and growing all the time. This has to become an addiction for you. For too many of us, we like to grow. And every time you don't make it an emergency, it's not a crisis, you're not in a hurry, you never get there. And the truth is, whether you know it or not, you are either growing or you are dying.
Get better. There isn't any of us that can't get better, starting a few steps from here at that convention. I'm telling you, for things to get better, you got to get better. Don't ask for it to change out there. Ask for you to change here. Don't ask for a more favorable wind. We call that naive. Just ask that you can get wiser and stronger and better. Learn how to handle the seasons better. Let's go through them. Just get better at handling the winters. You can't change the seasons, but you can change yourself.
We need to grow. You need to grow, and it needs to become an intention of yours. It needs to become an obsession of yours. You can't always acquire the things you want, but you are in control of acquiring the next version of you. And that requires being uncomfortable. That requires growth.
Get stronger. You can develop the muscle. You can develop the courage muscle. You can develop the dedication muscle. You can get stronger in style and personality, the ability to cope, the ability to handle with anything that happens, no matter what happens.
What is your wake-up call? What is controlling your thoughts? Is it the television set? Feeding your mind images of what life should be? Is it drugs or alcohol numbing your brain and diminishing your desires? Or is it weakness, a lack of discipline that prevents you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish.
If you quit, whatever you were trying to accomplish can never happen. If you quit, there is no chance of it popping back up again, coming back later. Quitting is guaranteed failure. When you're trying, you're going to fail. You have to make sure that your dreams and goals are so big that not accomplishing them is not an option.
I'm not saying that there aren't things in life that we just have to do. There are. But what I am saying is ask questions. Don't believe everything that you're told, and don't follow the path just because it's there. Don't get in line just because other people are. Get up. Be conscious of what is creeping into your mind. What are you letting in there? What is forcing itself in there? You have only one life, so don't waste it.
Take inventory of what you're giving space to. Life is too short to go through it with negative things holding us down.
Every action and every discipline today is a link in the chain. Every action and every discipline in the future is a link. When you can see that every link in the chain will eventually lead you to the things you want most out of life, then you won't grow discouraged or impatient with today. When you can see where you're going through visual chain thinking, even on the toughest days, you'll keep building your ambition by knowing where you're going, not just where you are today.
It's easy to go around worried about our future, stressed over our finances. We're tempted to live guilty because of past mistakes. We wonder why we don't enjoy life, why we can't sleep at night. It's because our mind is cluttered. You weren't created to live guilty, bitter, upset. If you're going to reach your destiny, you have to clear out the clutter. You can't stop negative things from coming, but you can keep them from staying. You don't have to hold on to it.
Your plans and goals are your visual chain, knowing where you're going before you get there. Develop a plan, a game plan. Here's the first rule for your game plan of life. Don't start your day until you have it finished. Don't begin your activities of the day until you know exactly what you plan to accomplish. Don't start your day until you have it planned. The value is the fruitful result of discipline, not hope. Once you've mastered the art of planning your day, you're ready for the next level.
When we make mistakes, guilt will come, telling us how we don't measure up. You can hold on to it, go around down on yourself, or you can let it go. You have to be proactive when it comes to keeping your mind in peace, because all through the day, there's clutter. There's noise, there's jealousy, there's hurts, there's offense. They may come, but you don't have to hold on to it.
Recital. Once you have mastered it, whether the recital is business, marriage, accounting firms, real estate development, family, whatever your recital is, once you have maximized it, you get to sit with the masters.
So the key to your life is finding a vision that imposes discipline on you. In essence, vision is the source of discipline. Discipline is the root of leadership. It actually is the very nature that attracts people to you. A disciplined person naturally begins to attract people because people admire discipline in other people. That's why we go to see athletes perform. We really admire their discipline that they put themselves through. If you do the same thing as a person, people will then begin to believe what you say. Your very life of discipline creates trust. People trust a person who they perceive to be disciplined.
There's a lot of destruction going on in the world right now. There's a lot of loss happening in the world right now. And I've actually been through a lot of chaos, and I've been through a lot of destruction. And one thing that I've learned is I learned that I had to keep my emotions in check. And that's the same thing I tell other people when they're going through trying times. And that does not mean that you're not going to have emotions. But by keeping your emotions in check, I mean don't make decisions based on your emotions. They're going to lead to a bad place. Don't let that happen. Instead, if you feel yourself getting emotional, take a step back. Detach. Look around. Think about the long-term implications of the decisions that you're making, and make your decisions based on logic and based on reason and based on long-term outcomes.
No matter what happens to you, it ain't over. Ain't no such a thing as over. As long as God wakes you up, that means he ain't through with you yet. And if he wakes you up, you got a shot to correct it and get it right. That also means that he has something for you that you've yet to receive. So as long as he was waking me up, I figure what else? He can't take nothing else from me. I ain't got nowhere to stay, so.
That if you want it, you gotta go get it. Some of y'all got this concept of what you want. You know, some of y'all are motivated by broke. Just wanting to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Other folks are motivated by materialistic things. It's a very simple concept. If you want it, you gotta go get it.
You've got creativeness in you. If you decide to take the initiative to change the current quality of your life, I say to you that you will find that the universe is on your side. Now, will it be turbulent? Yes. Will it be easy? No, no. Will I make a lot of mistakes? Yes. See, a lot of people won't try anything different in life because they don't want to get hurt.
But too often, we're trying to convince people to be our friend. And if someone doesn't see the gift that you are, if they don't recognize your talents, value your friendship, do yourself a favor and move on. No offense, but they are not a part of your destiny. You don't have to play up to people, let them manipulate you. No, the people God has for you don't have to be talked into liking you.
If you're weary with smallness and you're tired all the time and you can't focus, what are you going to do with greatness? You're asking for more and you haven't mastered less.
Is not the mission. Growing is not the goal. Us being healthy, that's the goal. And it just turns out that healthy things grow.
And my point to you is if you don't have a goal, if you don't have something that keeps you sharp and focused, if you don't have challenges, you won't stay alive. You could drop into a pile of dust pretty quick if you don't have any. I don't care how old you are. I don't care who you are. You need a dream.
Some people won't understand you. They'll get upset when you break out of the box. Someone told me, Joel, you've forgotten where we've come from. I thought I haven't forgotten. I just didn't want to stay there.
Don't get stuck in the past. Don't get stuck in tradition.
And when you get to that point in your life where you're not cursing the things that come your way and blaming the things that come your way, and particularly blaming it on somebody else, and you hear it all the time. She hurt my feelings. How's that possible? How can anybody hurt your feelings? Your feelings come from your thoughts. No one can hurt your feelings without your consent. No one can embarrass you without your consent. These are choices that you have that come from the way that you think.
You got to get focused, man. You got to understand that this hard time that you're going through was preparing you for what you asked God for. Every trial and tribulation you go through prepares you for the life God has for you.
What do you think about? What is your dream? Do you want a larger life? And that you're going to get a breakthrough, that things are going to be better for you, that you're willing to work on you, you're learning how to live life now.
It was my philosophy that changed. The set of the sail of better thinking, correcting the errors of the past and picking up new disciplines for the future. That's all I had to do at the end of the first 6. And my total life changed. The second 6 years was totally different than the first 6 of my working life.
If you're stuck in a story. There's a story you're telling yourself that doesn't serve you anymore. And you have to evaluate what that story is. But what you need to do is you need to alter your associations. You need to do something in a short window of time. No question about it. You definitely need to evaluate what is no longer needed and evaluate the story you're telling yourself.
What's your philosophy of life? What are your beliefs, things that you feel very strongly about? What are some of the things that you have picked up along the way that you've been doing them for so long you think that they're you, that you need to begin to re-examine them and perhaps get them out of your life? See, a lot of things we're doing, we do unconsciously because we picked it up somewhere in life.
You have to have a boldness to follow what God's put in your heart. You can't worry about what everybody else thinks. If someone gets offended because you're not taking their advice, that's not your problem. If you live by the opinion of others, you will never become who you were created to be. Because people will try to keep you in their box, in who they want you to be.
I am going to be curious about myself. I am going to make it my mission every day to wake up and discover a new version of me. I'm going to make it my mission to explore the far corners of myself, just to see what's there, because I want to know what else is in me. You know, you've got to be curious about yourself. And that's the attitude to have if you want to get more out of this life.
I used to try to change everything. You can hang apples on a pear tree. I'm telling you, it won't help. You can put up a sign, this is an apple tree. Sure enough, come the season, pears. Here's what I learned. You cannot change people, but they can change themselves. It's your skills that buy you a future. Money and no skills, and I'm telling you, you're still poor. Money and no courage, you're broke.
You know your strengths. You know your dreams. You know your heart. So why don't you sit down and reflect for a moment and ask yourself, what do I really want to accomplish that I haven't accomplished yet? Get in your area, in your space, and say, I need to challenge me. Because here's what I feel, and here's what I believe. When you challenge yourself, you're challenging yourself in an area that is close to your heart, and it's who you are.
Accept the challenge, because you can't grow without a challenge. You can't get rich without a challenge. You have to understand the challenge. But that's the key, is to now develop wisdom to overcome the challenge. Don't wish for less challenge, but more wisdom. You can do the most remarkable things no matter what happens. Humans can do the most remarkable things no matter what happens.
Just being aware of the concept will put you light years ahead of 99.9% of the just awareness of the power of identity. Just now you knowing about the thermostat puts you in the 0.1% of all the people on the spinning earth right now.
There are three kinds of people. There are people who make things happen, people that watch things happen, and people that don't know what happened. That's the majority. Hoping that somebody with mercy and pity will look in their direction. No! Hey, listen here. You've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. Listen to me. Be willing to learn something. Keep moving in the direction of where you want to go. Continue to fall forward.
One of the things I'm suggesting you look at, what is it that you need to be in the process of doing more of or less of? Like being more direct. Saying no without feeling guilty, more focused. 1 year I decided to do one thing well. I looked at all of my talents and I decided the strongest one, my ability as a speaker, that's the one I'm going to focus on. But only when I decided to focus that I began to reap the rewards of my talent.
As we get older as persons and as businesses, we have a tendency to want to cling to the old, to be suspicious of anything new and exciting. This is a successful way of doing things. Let's stay with it. Let's hang on to what we've got and ride out a future we can't be sure of. But this attitude, in many ways, can only lead to decline and eventual failure. This is a turning of the back to life, and it's something life won't stand for. To grow, we must let go.
See, when you get to a certain place, when you're willing to risk, you're not willing to risk, you can't grow. And if you can't grow, you can't become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, what else is there? There are many of you who've been working on jobs. That is not you. Why do you do it? Oh, to pay the bills. But you've gotten to a point where that's not enough.
People telling you, hey, you can't do this, that doesn't matter. You have no idea what's possible for you, and because you don't even know what's possible for you, they have no clue what's possible for you. So you've got to keep going and keep pushing. There's some pain involved, but you got to go past the pain, and I'm telling you what's on the other end is more rewarding than anything you can think about right now. All right? So you got to go in there, take that attitude with you. This might be the day. This might be the day.
Ask yourself truthfully, your big goals and dreams, are you really clear on what they are? Because if you don't have that, we can't even get started. You know how mandatory it is to be clear and specific for what you want, right? Can you get laser obsessively focused almost to its exclusivity, almost, but for an extended period of time?